Should I start? All of you already know him, don't you? Do
Yes,
not
yes.
know that he has cleared JF this time, and
Good
he
morning.
has
Good morning, sir.
good
Good morning,
morning,
sir.
and he has agreed to do this for us. First of all,
Yeah.
that's why we are very thankful. Me also, and obviously you people are also. So all of you know him, but I would still like him to introduce himself, please.
So, good morning, all of you. I'm Sohom
Good
Nandi, and
morning,
I have
sir.
good morning,
Good
good
morning, sir.
morning. So, I have done my BBLLB from Met University, Kolkata, in corporate and commercial law only specialization. After which, I've done my LLM in the same specialization from NOJS. Post which, I have joined as a lecturer at SNU, and in December 2024, I appeared for the NET examination and I cleared both NET and JRF with the score of 220, and my all India rank is 36, AR 36. So that's all about me.
Okay, I would also like to add something in that he was also topper of a very difficult subject during his LLM years, which he forgot to mention, I guess. What was that subject? Which is a very difficult subject. Many people fail in that exam. What is this subject?
Uh, International trade law.
Yes,
Oh,
it is one of
International
the
trade.
toughest paper to clear. He was topper in that
oh,
subject during his LLM. Right.
Thanks for appreciating this, but yeah, but I was basically the subject is tough, but if you gather interest in any particular subject, then if you study just to not to pass the exam but to gather the knowledge, then actually it is very easy. I mean, not only to pass but also to get good marks. So I say this to my students: ki first gather the passion to read that subject instead of just focusing on just to pass that subject. So that's the reason.
And what I want to ask you that I know you appeared for NET to like the September one also,
Hmm.
and you also appeared for this one. So obviously you prepared for both the exams.
Hmm.
So my question is that what changed? Like you prepared twice. So what are the changes preparation wise, and like according to you what changes you brought into the whole preparation strategy? It's the
Hmm.
main question.
I appeared for the first net, I think, in the August cycle, and what I found was that at that time, I did not delve into the past year papers. Okay. So first, you have to know the pattern that NTA follows. There's a specific pattern to this. Okay. So if you follow the pattern, and if you just focus on the pattern, just go through the past year papers. Okay. So for example, if you see IPC, which is now the BNS, so you see many questions come from that uh, general exceptions part. So unnecessarily, you don't have to read those parts which NTA does not focus upon. So first, you have to identify the pattern, which I did not did in the uh, August cycle. So then I focused on everything holistically. So and eventually, for if you study for 2 3 months, it's not possible to cover everything, right? So first, you have to identify the pattern. कि হ্যাঁ এখান থেকে question আসে, so let me just focus on this part. I'm not saying ki just leave out concepts or leave out topics, but specifically identify the pattern and then focus on those parts only. So this I did not do in the September cycle. First, second thing that I focused on this time, which I did not do last time, was solving the past year papers. ठीक है. First September cycle, I used to study all day. I study, but I did not focus on solving the papers. So my suggestion is that uh, during the study throughout the weekdays, but during the weekend when you're feeling that no এখন পড়তে ভালো লাগছে না দুপুরবেলা বা after dinner when you're not feeling কি পড়তে ভালো লাগছে না, that time you solve the papers. Okay. So not only just studying but also to solve the previous year papers. And see what I found is that there is in law the saturation point. Okay. Now NTA cannot make new questions from every field. They have to repeat the previous year questions, but indirectly just modify here and there and repeat the same questions. So if you solve the previous year questions, you will get an idea, and if your luck is also good, they will repeat some questions as well. Okay, so that's the thing. In the previous cycle, I did not focus on the pattern of the exam, and also I did not focus on giving the solving the past year papers, mock exam, and all of that. So these are the things I improved this time, and which helped me to clear JRF. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And another question I have, that we have paper 1 and paper 2. So when you approach the question paper, do you solve paper 2 first and then paper 1, or is there any such thing, because we all know paper 1 is a bit difficult for law students. So how to handle that?
See, I went. I mean, with the order basically. Okay, I solved paper one first, and then paper two. Paper one, I solved the DI portion first because the mind is fresh. I just came to give the exam, so I solved the DI part first. So after solving the DI, I completed paper one, then went on to paper two. Now paper two, I did the comprehension part first. So last 10 questions are comprehension based. And the questions nowadays would entier us, the answers are from the passage only.
Mm.
Okay, it's not very hard and fast. It's very difficult. So in the law part, I did the comprehension first because 10 questions, 20 marks, very easy. So that will give you a confidence. Ki, chalo, 10 questions I have now solved. It will boost your confidence. Then you start solving the other part of the paper, law paper. So this strategy I followed. But many do the law portion first, then go to paper one. But I did not do that. I did paper one first, then paper two. I did the comprehension part first. Then I did the rest of the portion. This is the thing.
Okay. And I would ask one question. When we look at the law part, there are some questions that come from, major laws like BNA's constitution, international law, which is like vast, and we have some minor acts. So for that, like I have seen some questions coming directly from like index. If you know the index, you can answer the question. If you just know the sections, like headlines of the sections, you can answer. So what do you suggest? Like how can someone prepare for the minor acts?
Huh. This is a good question actually. See, and reading the sections in detail is not possible because there are a number of legislation that we have to cover. So what I did, for example, if you see the Hindu law, so I basically read the index of every Hindu Succession Act, Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. So I basically read the index एकदम thoroughly because they ask chronological questions. Okay. So I read the index first and sections I just went through it because it's not possible to delve into every section in detail. And NT does not specifically focus on the details of the section. Okay. They will ask you chronology. For example, definition if you see, the agnates, cognates, here, intestate. Now chronology, you have to just order it. So if you know the index only, you can answer this. Now nobody, NT will not ask कि agnates का meaning क्या है. No, that order you have to remember. Okay. So these acts like Hindu law and also IPR. IPR may have a number of acts, patents, copyright, trademark. So you have to know the chronological order of those sections. कि where is patent defined? Where is invention defined? ठीक है, like this. Where is new invention defined? फिर in the environmental act also is not possible like water act, air act, not possible to read all the sections, right? So there also I focus कि कहाँ पे air pollution is defined, कहाँ पे air pollutants is defined, कहाँ पे environment is defined, so that you can follow the chronology because NTA does not specifically focus inside the section details. Generally, some questions they ask, but those are very important sections, not these kind of sections. So first you have to go, when you have to be thorough with the sections order. कहाँ पर है ये section? For example, agreement without consideration is void. Which section? So like this, and there are three exceptions, right? So you know section 25. Okay. So caution, undue influence, misrepresentation. You have to know the order. Inside, okay, if you know very good, but just the order you have to just memorize that order. You have to thorough with the order. So this is my suggestion. And for BNS also, there are a number of sections, so not possible for you to delve into every section. And remember to know the chapter as well, chapter number order. Okay. So for example, chapter 3 deals with the exceptions part in BNS. Okay. So like this, chapter 4, chapter 3, chapter 5. So always remember these things first. Then you have to, for the important parts, you have to read the sections thoroughly. But for the timing, just first go through the, be thorough with the order of the sections. Where is this section? Okay, where is this provision? In this part is in which provision? This should be thorough with that. So focus on wide coverage first instead of going getting into deep of any particular topic. It's better to first cover the wide aspect of it. Then once you cover the, you are thorough with the wide coverage, then slowly you get into details of everything.
Okay. And did you prepare BNS or IPC for this time? Like, or
I
you prepare?
prepared both. I wanted to be on the safe side, so I prepared both. Basically, IPC only I did first because I thought ki this game was enforced last year only. So I thought NTA might be clever and might give questions from IPC only. So I wanted to be on the safe side. I did IPC also, and there's a comprehensive chart as well. You will get in the internet as well as in the new criminal manual. So read that comprehensive chart and read the new offenses that have been introduced in the BNS. For example, terrorist act. It's not defined in IPC. It's not there in IPC. But in BNS we have like petty organized crime, like snatching. These kind of offenses were not mentioned in the IPC. So these you have to be thorough. Ki, yeah, these were not there in IPC, but this is there in BNS. A question might be asked, ki, state which of the following was not there in BNS, or was not there in IPC, but is there in BNS. So you can easily answer snatching, theft, security, robbery. You can answer snatching. So that part you have to understand ki which section, which provisions were not there in IPC but is there in BNS. And the order is, if you are clever enough, you will see the order is more or less the same. The sections have changed. I mean the numbering. For example, general exceptions now is in 14 to 44 in BNS. It was in IPC 76 to 106, but it follows the same order. So that's the thing. So you first read the IPC because you've already read it, right? Then you compare it with the BNS with the chart, and you just follow the same order. That's it. And the new provisions that were not there in IPC but is there in the BNS. This part.
Okay. And what about case laws? How to deal with that? Uh,
Case laws, constitutional case laws, I did the landmark ones because they ask the chronological order with the year and all. The Kesavananda Bharati, Minerva Mills, Raj Narayan, and DK Basu. You have to chronologically order them. So I will suggest you, it's not possible to go through every case law, right? From constitution or BNS. Okay, so what I did is that I focused on the landmark, judgments, and if I said it to Aritra also, I'll give them the material because I have a good material of constitutional law. I when I was studying for the PG CLAT exam, I took a subscription of Rostrum Legal. So they provided me a comprehensive material of constitutional law, and everything is covered in details. I mean the case laws. So if you want, I can give because they ask the case laws from the constitution mainly. Take it. So, for example, right to sleep is a fundamental right. Which case law? Take it. So, like this. So, right to safe drinking water is under which case law? So, like this. So, you have to read the constitutional case laws very careful. Specifically, Article 21, Article 19, Article 14, uh, some case laws from the part of DPSP. So I will suggest you go through the constitution and mainly those judgments and mainly the 3 judge and 5 judge bench judgment. Take it. So this thing you focus on the constitutional law judgments because it's not possible to know the any famous judgment from say Water Act or Air Act. Not possible, right? And they do not ask questions like the last time they asked about the passive euthanasia judgment. Adona Schonbach case. So that's a very landmark case. So if you read the constitution only, for example, right to die is not a fundamental right, in which case it was held. So Jian Kor case. So these are the landmark judgments. So they focus on the constitutional law with regard to such landmark judgments. So be thorough with those judgments which are there in the constitution, basically. Then another question came, I think, right to internet is a fundamental right. Anuradha Bhasin case, I mean that case. So constitution they focus on with regard to landmark judgment. So read that, and I will share the material to Puvali ma'am if and she can circulate it amongst you all.
yes. And about research methodology, did you study a different book for it, or you just
No, no. I studied the KVS Madan only for paper one, and during NOJS I had some small notes copy me. So that, but mainly KVS Madan only because during the last stage I did not get time to cover everything, so I read KVS Madan only. And one thing is that paper one you will feel is like an ocean. Okay, paper one is like an ocean. So paper one, some things you have to leave because it's not possible. For example, environment part, I am from commerce background. Like I was from commerce background, so it was not possible for me to be very thorough with the science part. For example, I was not aware of say biological oxygen demand क्या होता है. So it's not possible. So it's an ocean. A paper one is an ocean. So first get a basic skeleton from KVS Madan. कि हाँ, these things are there or any other book of your convenience. Then solve past year papers. ठीक है. And there are some parts that NTA focuses on. For example, now they focus on that Swam Prabha thing. The channels, Swam Prabha में channels क्या होता है? ठीक है. Then what is Swam? फिर all these things. ठीक है. फिर RM में they focus on sampling. Then those scale, ratio scale, interval scale, nominal scale, ordinal scale, types of research. ठीक है. So focus on KVS Madan and solve the past year paper. I think for paper one that's sufficient. For RM or even say other things like teaching aptitude or environment.
okay. So one last question I have. That do you think that focusing as a law student, the people that are appearing, do you think that for them their first priority should be making their paper one stronger, or their priority should be making their law part so strong that even if they miss out some questions from paper one, it's fine? What approach should be, like which approach should be better?
This depends on the this is subjective. So if any particular student is confident that he has the concepts clear in paper two, then he or she can dedicate some more time to paper one. But see, what I feel is that paper two has more marks. This is the logical thing. So paper two may and already what a law student matlab for the 5 years or 3 years or if anybody is doing LLM, so for 3 or 5 or 6 years you're doing paper two only. ठीक है मतलब law subjects you are dealing with. So first paper one you study, after that paper two. This was my strategy. ठीक है. But this is a very subjective thing. If you are confident कि your maths is good, your logical reasoning is good, your RM is good, then you can focus on paper two. And if you the vice versa can also happen. If you think your constitution is good, you've already read it in while studying for the 3 years or 5 years program, then you can first start with paper one. There is no strict jacket formula with regard to this, but what I feel that do not fully focus on something to leave out something else. You have to have a balance of both. ठीक है. मतलब फॉर एग्जाम्पल थ्रू आउट द डे यू स्टडी पेपर टू बट ठीक है इवनिंग में 1 hour यू स्टडी पेपर वन. डू नॉट फुल्ली फोकस ऑन समथिंग टू लीव आउट समथिंग. ठीक है. माई ऑल्सो पेपर वन वॉज वेरी वीक इन द September attempt. I got only 27 questions correct. ठीक है out of 50 questions. But this time I got around 36 questions correct in paper one. So my paper one is not that good. I focused on paper two and paper one. I did not fully leave out. I tried to cover everything. As I said, paper one is an ocean. So তুমি সারাক্ষণ পড়ার পরও মনে হয় পারবো না কিছুই পড়িনি. এটা মনে হবে কারণ পেপার ওয়ান ইজ অ্যাবসলিউটলি অ্যান ওশান. ইটস নট পসিবল টু টু স্টাডি অ্যান্ড এভরিথিং. অ্যান্ড সি অ্যাজ অ্যান্ড ওয়েন এই যে এনটিএ বারবার বারবার এক্সাম নিচ্ছে ওদেরও তো কোয়েশ্চেনের লিমিটেড হয়ে যাচ্ছে না. So they will give something out from paper one only. This is absolutely clear. So first focus on paper one. I mean, have a balance of both. Do not fully leave out something and solve the past year papers of both. That will help you to identify the pattern. Yeah, NTA gives question from sampling from RM. So let's focus on sampling. Acha, NTA gives question from those teaching models. So let's focus on the teaching model. So like this, you will identify the pattern and then study from there. So that's the thing. Do not fully leave out something and do not fully focus on something as well. Like for example, you read constitutional law for 1 month. It's not possible, right? Because you have to focus on other topics as well. So that's the thing. Have a balance of both and have a wide coverage of everything.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now it is up to them if they have any questions. I guess I asked
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, sure. Anyone having any
স্যার
question?
আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চেন আছে।
হ্যাঁ, বলো বলো।
স্যার বলছে কি পেপার ওয়ান যেটা ওর প্রিভিয়াস ইয়ার্স কোয়েশ্চেন্স আমি কোথা থেকে পাবো?
Paper one previous year questions to me. There is an app, textbook app, textbook I think
ওকে,
super coaching or something. ওরা মনে হয় 3 months এর জন্য ওই 150 চার্জ করে।
ওকে,
খুবই নমিনাল একটা, মানে মাসে 50 টাকা ইজ আই থিঙ্ক নাথিং। সো ওটাও করতে পারো। সেকেন্ড কেভিএস মাদানেরও না মানে আফটার দে কভার এভরি ইউনিট, ওদেরও ওই ইউনিটটার পরে দে প্রোভাইড দ্য প্রিভিয়াস ইয়ার কোয়েশ্চেন্স,
ওকে,
ওটাও করতে পারো। আর একটা হতে পারে তুমি অ্যামাজনে গিয়ে 15 ইয়ার্স, লাস্ট 15 ইয়ার্স কোয়েশ্চেন অফ পেপার ওয়ান, ওরকম একটা মোটা বই পাবে, ওগুলো সলভ করতে পারবে। এনিথিং অফ ইউর,
ওকে,
এনিথিং
ওকে।
অফ ইউর।
আর স্যার আরেকটা কথা বলছি, এখানে কি কারেন্ট অ্যাফেয়ার্স আছে নিটে?
না, কারেন্ট অ্যাফেয়ার্স মানে ওরকম না, বাট রিসেন্ট কিছু জাজমেন্টস পড়ে রাখতে হবে।
ওকে,
এই যে
তো
রিসেন্ট
ওই
ওই সাব ক্লাসিফিকেশন ইজ অ্যালাউড ওই যে কেসটা হলো, বা ওই যে বার কাউন্সিলের ওই অ্যাবনর্মাল ফিস চার্জ করছিল ওইটা কোন কেস, মানে এইগুলো ছোটখাটো যে রিসেন্ট কেসগুলো, দ্যাট থিং। বাট নর্মালি কারেন্ট অ্যাফেয়ার্স দে ডোন্ট আস্ক। রিসেন্ট ল্যান্ডমার্ক জাজমেন্টস একটু জেনে রাখলে ভালো।
সে থেকে লাস্ট 5 ইয়ার্স?
লাস্ট 1 year or 2 years সাফিসিয়েন্ট।
ওকে, ঠিক আছে।
Yes, Archana.
স্যার হোয়াট অ্যাবাউট পাবলিক ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ল, মানে পাবলিক ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ল বা যে আরো যে জিনিসগুলো জুরিসপ্রুডেন্স, সেখান থেকে কিভাবে প্রিপারেশন করতে পারি আমরা?
I followed the Arihant book, but that is also not very comprehensive. And if you just study Arihant book, it is very difficult for you to crack. So I kept that Arihant book as a base material. That's a skeleton. Now I added bits and pieces from there and I made notes. Okay. So for PIL, if you have any book, then you can just, so the judgments, for example, from say jurisdiction of ICJ, ठीक है, दोस्त যেমন লুথার ভার্সেস সাগার, those cases, फिर নটিংহাম case with regard to nationality, extradition any case law. So with regard to find the topic from Arihan, कि suppose extradition or refugee, then you take a book, any textbook, and you see उस textbook में extradition का क्या landmark case है, then you write it down the case and small the judgment. So I made notes with regard to the PIL judgments, around 30 judgments. For example, 2 from extradition, 2 from jurisdiction of ICJ. Okay. Then so all like this only. And there is a channel as well, I think YJ Law or YG Law in YouTube. So there he made a video of landmark judgments of PIL. So you can follow that video also. I think he made around, he had 30 judgments in his video. You can follow that as well. Those are the landmark judgments. Okay. And you can just refer to a textbook and you take the topic from Arihan, key extradition, okay, one case law from here. Refugee, one case law from here. Like this.
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Welcome.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes. Ask.
Sir, at least how many months of preparation is needed to crack? At least for the assistant
This is a
professor.
very subjective thing. This is a very subjective thing, but what I will say to you guys is be consistent with your preparation. ठीक है, मतलब अगर दिन में if you study 2 hours also, but every day you should study for 2 hours. मतलब be consistent. ऐसा नहीं कि पूरा week you did not study, फिर weekend में you are covering 6 hours, 8 hours. So for example, you're starting from March. So March, April, May, I think it will happen in the mid of June.
Yes, sir.
So March, April, May, June you leave out for just solving the past year papers. So I'm not taking June into consideration. So March, April, May, matlab 3 months is very good time. So be consistent enough. Matlab throughout the week you study for, see you, I think you are college going student. So you will not have time to study for 6 to 8 hours per day. And that is not required also. Even I you should study for only 1 or 2 hours. Ubali ma'am will be acquainted with this because I travel. Okay? So I come home at around 7:30, 8 p.m. So I used to sit at 8:30 p.m. and study till 10 p.m. But for every day. So 1.5 hours I used to dedicate every day. So be consistent, and in the weekend, during the time when you are feeling কি এখন ভালো লাগছে না পড়তে, বোরিং লাগছে, then তখন solve the past year papers.
Past year papers.
So that's the thing. Be consistent for the 3 months, and weekend solve the past year papers. Very good enough.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oritra, ask.
স্যার অ্যাবাউট ল অফ ক্রাইমস, আমরা তো আইপিসি আর সিআরপিসি ওর সাথে করসপন্ডিং নিউ অ্যাক্টস গুলো পড়বো, এভিডেন্সটাকেও বেশি গুরুত্ব দিতে হবে নাকি শুধু এগুলো করলেই হবে? আর এখানে
Evidence, I
কেস
did
গুলো
not. Evidence, if you see the, uh, I mean the question paper, evidence the question দেয় না খুব একটা, খুব রেয়ারলি দেয়। যেমন এইবারে সাইকেলে তো আসেনি, সেপ্টেম্বরে সাইকেলে একটা এসেছিল যে অ্যাডমিসিবিলিটি অফ ইলেকট্রনিক এভিডেন্স, সেকশন 65B, ওই একটা কোয়েশ্চেন এসেছিল। নাও ইউ টেল মি, মানে এই দুটো সাইকেল মিলে একটা কোয়েশ্চেন এসেছিল। সো ইজ ইট ওয়ার্থ এনাফ যে পড়া ওটা? আমার তো মনে হয় না। যে দুটো সাইকেল মিলিয়ে একটা কোয়েশ্চেন এসছে মানে কি ওটা এন্ডে ফোকাস করে না, ঠিক আছে? তো ওইটা পড়ার দরকার নেই। খুব যদি দেখো টাইম পড়ে আছে, ঠিক আছে, একটুখানি ফাঁকা টাইম পেয়েছো, মোটামুটি সব কভার হয়ে গেছে, একবারই ইন্ডেক্সটা পড়ে নিও, ওরকম টাইপ। যে কনফেশন কোথায় দেওয়া আছে, পুলিশ কনফেশন ইজ নট অ্যাডমিসেবল কোন সেকশন, ঠিক আছে, এরকম টাইপের। এক্সপার্ট
কেসেস
ওপিনিয়ন কোন
গুলো কি
সেকশন।
ওভাবেই পড়বো?
কেসেস যে বললাম যে তোমার ল্যান্ডমার্ক জাজমেন্টস গুলোই পড়বে, মেইনলি কনস্টিটিউশনাল ল, মেইনলি। আর তারপরে বিএনএস বা বিএনএস যদি টাইম পাও, ফর এক্সাম্পল মেনটেনেন্স সেকশন 125, এখন যেটা অন্য বিএনএস, ওখান থেকে যে কেসগুলো আছে, ঠিক আছে, তো ওইগুলো। বাট মেইনলি ফোকাস অন কনস্টিটিউশনাল ল্যান্ডমার্ক জাজমেন্টস, ওখান থেকেই বেশি দেয়। মানে 6টা জাজমেন্ট এলে 5টা তো কনস্টিটিউশন বেশি থাকবে।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
ওয়েলকাম।
Anyone has any more questions? Or we will end
No,
the
ma'am.
session.
Thank you, sir.
থ্যাংক ইউ।
Last
Dipankara, okay,
Ma'am,
please ask us.
so ডিআইটা নিয়ে খুব অসুবিধা, সেটা কি করা যাবে?
ডিআই হচ্ছে তোমাকে প্র্যাকটিস করতে হবে। ডিআইটা তো দেখো, ডিআইটা মানে তোমার কি ম্যাথস ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড ছিল?
একদমই না, ওটা ভয়তে আমি সায়েন্সে যাইনি।
আচ্ছা, ডিআইটা, হ্যাঁ ডিআইটা কিন্তু খুব স্কোরিং কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি, মানে তুমি যদি ডিআইটা পারো, ওটা কিন্তু খুব মার্কস স্কোর করতে, মানে ওটা 5টা কোয়েশ্চেন তো শিওর ডিআই থেকে, মানে কেউ আটকাতে পারবে না, মানে 10 নম্বর ছাঁকা। তো ডিআইটা তোমাকে প্র্যাকটিস করতে হবে। ডিআইটা আমি বুঝিয়ে কিছু পারবো না। ডিআইটা তুমি ধরো লাস্ট 10 ইয়ার্সের যেগুলো ডিআই এসছে, লয়ের অনলি লয়ের ডিআই কিন্তু খুব টাফ দেয় না। হয়তো দিয়ে দিল 5টা শহর থেকে এতজন ভোটার, তাহলে বলো এর ভোটারের পার্সেন্ট, বি এর কত, মানে এরকম টাইপের। সো ওটা তুমি প্র্যাকটিস করতে হবে। আর একজন আছে আই থিঙ্ক ওই ইউটিউবে, আই থিঙ্ক কি ভারত কুমার, হ্যাঁ কুমার ভারত, ওর একটা ডিআই এর ভালো ভিডিও আছে,
হ্যাঁ দেখেছিলাম।
ওইটা দেখতে পারো, যে কিভাবে পার্সেন্টেজ গুলো একটা ফর্মুলা দিয়ে সলভ
হ্যাঁ,
করতে হয়।
একটা করে ফর্মুলা দিয়ে দেয়।
হ্যাঁ,
ওটা শিখে গিয়ে আমি আর অ্যাপ্লাই করতে পারছি না ভালো করে।
ওটা প্র্যাকটিস করতে হবে। তোমার যেহেতু ডিআইটা উইক, তুমি মানে অল্টারনেট ডেজে একটা করে ডিআই সলভ করতে থাকো, একবার করতে 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 3 মাসে হয়ে যাবে।
And last question, sir. I'm following the Aryan book only for paper 1. Do you need to buy the KVS Madan or refer both the books together? Or should
না,
I stick to
একটা বই সাফিসিয়েন্ট, দুটো বই পড়া তুমি টাইম পাবে না, তাহলে পেপার 2-তে ইউ উইল লুজ আউট। তো
No,
একটা
should
বই
I shift to KVS Madan or can I stick to Aryan? And is it good enough? I do not know.
I followed KVS Madan, ठीक है. So I'm not sure about Arihant with respect to paper 1, but one thing you can do, you can just check the index of both. যদি দেখো দুটোই মোটামুটি ইজ কাভারিং দ্য সেম থিং, তাহলে বেকার আর কেনার দরকার নেই। আর একবার তুমি পড়া স্টার্ট করে দিয়েছো, সো একবার ইউ আর ফ্যামিলিয়ার উইথ ইট না, তো আবার চেঞ্জ করতে গেলে তোমার প্রবলেম হতে পারে। বাট তাও একবার দুটোর ইন্ডেক্স যদি কেউ দেখো, অন্য কেউ কেভিএস মাদান ফলো করছে, তো দুটোর ইন্ডেক্স একবার দেখো, ইন্ডেক্স তো থাকবেই না, দুটোর ইন্ডেক্স কম্পেয়ার করে নাও, দুটোকে সেম 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 কভার করেছে, তো তাহলে আর চেঞ্জ করার দরকার নেই। যদি দেখো না কেভিএস মাদানে বেশি ব্রড কভারেজ যেখানে এরিয়ানটা নেই, তখন ইউ ক্যান থিঙ্ক টু শিফট।
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So all the best to everyone. I really hope all of you will crack it. But one thing, I don't take any pressure. This is my one thing. My one advice. I also did not qualify for the in the first attempt. Okay, during my first attempt. Many does not. Okay. Many I mean qualifies for the first attempt. It's not that a very rare case, but do not take any pressure. Okay. I mean just okay. मतलब study, work hard. Hard work is the key. उसके बाद डोंट टेक एनी প্রেশার কি করতেই হবে করতেই হবে, দ্যাটস আ গুড জেদ, বাট না হলে লাইফ শেষ। আই ইউজ টু টেল অল দিস টু কুবালি ম্যাম, ঠিক আছে? তো শি মোটিভেটেড মি কি না হয়ে যাবে, পরের বার পারবি পরের বার পারবি, সো আই কোয়ালিফাইড। সো দ্যাটস দ্য থিং, ডোন্ট টেক এনি প্রেশার, ওয়ার্ক হার্ড অ্যান্ড দ্যাটস ইট। সো অল দ্য বেস্ট টু এভরিওয়ান। It was a very good session. I had a good time talking to all of you. And thank you, Puvali ma'am, for inviting me.
No, no,
Thank you,
thank you.
Pubali ma'am, for it was a pleasure for us also. Many questions got cleared.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And most
Thank
of
you,
the
sir.
It is a pleasure for me also that
Yeah.
I got to I had a conversation with him like this. So okay,
Hmm.
then I
Okay.
guess if there is no more questions, all of you can leave. Shohom, you stay. I need to talk to you.